Good morning from the Alps again. I'm this weekend in the area around Mittenwald, and I'm mainly here for hiking, which I did yesterday with my girlfriend. So it's not a photography trip, but I couldn't resist this morning to get up early and have a quick trip to the Geroldsee, which you see here. And behind it you would normally see the Karwendel mountain range, which is quite a popular photo spot now here. I mean, 8 years ago when I first came here, there weren't so many photos. Now I think everybody has shot the scene, but it's an easy to get to scene and doesn't involve much hiking. And I just wanted to get out for a quick shoot, so I'm here. And also a good thing is the meadows are already cut down, most of the parts, so I didn't walk through high grass up here. So I came this way. And what's great, around the hut there's still grass and some alpine meadows, so would look nice in a photo. The only problem, as you can see, there's still some fog obscuring the mountains. Also, if you look east, thick gray sky, but there was some light behind this fog already, so I hope that it clears up a bit, and if it does, I get some awesome light. If it doesn't, well, I get up at 4 in the morning for nothing, but at least it's calm here, it's nice, it's nature. So what should I do to spend the time? I thought I record a little video, so some tips. For example, if you shoot in wet environments, for example it rained the night, the grass is wet, or at the beach, what I usually do, I put a rain cover on my backpack and then I can lay it down even on wet surfaces without it getting wet, and the satori opens up at the back, so the gear is easily accessible, which is great. So this is always the first thing I do when I get to locations like beaches or wet areas with a meadow which it rained on a lot in the night. I put on the rain cover and then I don't need to worry about the gear getting wet. Then let's look at the camera. So normally if you're shooting wide angle, you get dynamic perspectives if you point the camera down a bit, which I didn't do here. Instead I went a little wider than the view I have in mind, and I leveled the camera completely. So not only in the horizontal but also the tilt. I got it level, which I did using the integrated level. I can show you. So it's level here and it's nearly level in the tilt. And what this gives me is a completely aligned photo here. So I don't need to do some perspective corrections later at home, which for this scene I found is a little tricky with the trees to the side. So doing perspective corrections there, you lose a lot of space there. Also the huts here, it's not so easy to get them all perfectly aligned if you do too much perspective correction afterwards. And again, I'm shooting 50 megapixels, so I can easily go a bit wider and compose my shot and then crop a bit on the edges, and also shoot wide enough to get in enough foreground. And I think with this scene anyways, I go with a panoramic shot, so I'm cropping in mostly in the sky, and also I have a good amount of meadows still in the frame, even though I'm not pointing downwards. So sometimes I point downwards, but if it's possible, I try to align the scene a bit in a way that I don't need too many corrections, especially if there are human elements, human built elements like this huts in the scene, where it would look kind of strange if you have those tilting lines everywhere. So I don't like this. So next, let's look at the filter setup. So I have the Lee filter holder in front of the lens, and I've already attached 2 filters on it. So I have a soft grad 0.6, and I've combined it with a hard grad. I'm now having problem. Okay, So this is a combination I use a lot, so a soft and a hard grit combined, which gives me roughly 4 stops, but not with as hard of an edge as if I was using like a 1.2 hard edge. This is normally too hard, but the combination of both, this diffuses the gradient a bit, but still gives, yeah, good results in the end. And also I'm usually combining this with shooting bracketed exposures. So at least 2, so one darker frame and one brighter frame, which I sometimes don't use in the end, but it's good to have them. So next, let's look at the settings. I'm shooting. So I have the autofocus on for the lens, but I'm focusing manually, or not manually, but I'm using, let's see if you can see it. So I'm usually zooming into the scene. Let's see, for example, the hut here. And I'm using back focus. So the AF on here, I set this to focus. And what this does, if I switch off live view now and take the photo, I have 2-second release timer, or take the remote release. If I press down the shutter only halfway, it doesn't refocus the scene, which sometimes happens. So only if you stay in live view, it doesn't refocus. But if you're out of live view and have the focus on the front button, on the shutter button, then it would screw up the focus. But this time, this does nothing. So pressing half, no focus change, because it's already set. So this way, I have decoupled the setting of the focus from the actual taking of the picture, which is quite helpful, especially if you're doing a lot long exposure stuff. Also, if you're using big steppers sometimes, during the day you can use the autofocus to get your scene focused, then put the filter on and don't worry about the focus being changed. So this is quite important. Yeah, so I think that's it about the technical stuff. Now I'm just waiting. I have also my camera set to manual f9.5, and I later just use the live histogram to set the exposure time. But currently there's really no need to take a photo yet. So I need the mountains to show up behind those low-hanging clouds. So sunrise is in like 20 minutes. So let's hope something changes. And if it doesn't, I might try and get down to the lake and take some moody shots, which I did in the past, but we'll see. So as usual, patience is a virtue for a landscape photographer, and also staying positive, because if I don't get the photo, it was still a nice morning, I guess.